Now you should have already tried this to see how far you could get, and I will go ahead and present the solutions to you. This one's a little tricky because they're saying which information is not enough to prove that triangle XYZ, so X goes with A, Y goes with B, and Z goes with C, which is not enough to prove those two triangles are congruent. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at these just first of all how they are. I've got an angle, and a side. If that's angle, angle, side, or side, angle, or even if it were angle, side, angle, it would still work. So let's check. I've got angle X with A. I've got angle Z with C. So I've got these two end angles congruent. And then they tell me that angle segment YZ, so that would be this one right here, is congruent to BC. So that's like angle, side. And that is good enough. So you might want to put, if something's good enough, go ahead and put a check mark next to it. It's always tricky when they have these not questions right there. So when I see a not, I usually say, okay, put a check mark on the things that are true, and then I'll see what doesn't work. This next one is side, angle. So that one looks a little suspicious, because if it's what I think it is, then it may not work. So let's check. XY, so we're talking about this side. And this one's suspicious, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it. It's congruent to AB. Okay. YZ is congruent to BC. And then angle Y is congruent to angle B. Aha, it was suspicious, but it's actually side, angle, side, which I do accept backwards and forwards. So this one's fine. Now let's look at this one. Angle, side. Well, it could be angle, side, or side, angle. I have the feeling it will work. So I'm going to use a different color now, just so I can keep track of where we're working. It should work if I've got angle X, angle A, angle Z, angle C. So it looks a lot like the other one we were doing. And then we have XC and AC. So it's actually angle, side, angle. And if you wanted to see that, I could have gone like this. Angle. Then we said another angle, and we had a side. So that looks like angle, side, angle. That one works. So basically using deduction, I'm going to guess that the last one will not work. Let me put a little check mark before I forget. This one did work, and it was actually angle, side, angle. All right? So angle, side, angle works just fine. Let's check this last one. So I have angle X is congruent to angle A. XZ is congruent to AC. YZ is congruent to BC. Oh, I need two marks since this is my second side. So I'm doing an angle, a side, and a side. Here we have side, angle. And when I have side, angle, we know I don't accept that one, backwards or forwards. So believe it or not, since I'm looking for the one that doesn't work, this is my correct answer. Now looking at this problem, which one is correct for the figure shown below? It's use the arc marks on the angles to help you keep track. So here we have angle B goes with angle D. Those both have one mark, so that's okay. Angle C on the B triangle, so this 2 arc mark, goes with angle C on the other triangle. Those are 2 different arc marks. That will not work, so I put an X on that one. Now I have angle A on the ABC triangle. That's 1 arc mark right there. 3 arc marks. And that goes with angle C on the other triangle, so that's good. Angle B on the right triangle goes with angle D, so that looks pretty good. Then they say angle C on the ABC triangle goes with angle A on that triangle, so 2 arc marks to 2 arc marks. So that looks like that's our answer. But let's just double check the other ones. Angle A on the ABC triangle with angle A, oh, that won't work because you have a, wait, hold on. Angle A on the, yeah, with angle A on that triangle doesn't work. You have a 3 arc mark to 2 arc mark. And we have the same problem here. So our answer is B. So use the arc marks. Remember, if you're on the triangle that's either on the left or the top or the right or the bottom, keep them separate. Make sure their arc marks match. All right. Now, this next one should be fairly straightforward. We have an angle, and we have an angle. And hopefully you're noticing that we have a side that is congruent. AN is congruent to AN by the reflexive property of congruence. All right, so now I have angle, side, angle, and that's only one choice, A. So this one was a really quick one, which is good because this next one was a bit challenging. I will be impressed if any of you were able to figure this one out. So here, what I did is I started by drawing the two triangles. They have AE is congruent to GC. So I said, well, let me go ahead and make a triangle for each of those, just to kind of look at it. And because there is overlapping. So AC is congruent to, let's see, AE. And so, let's see, I have these two marked. And then they tell me that GAD is congruent to GD. Well, the problem is there's no D on either one of these triangles. So how can I use that? Let me go back to the overlapping triangles. This whole piece right here is congruent to that whole piece. And remember, color is very helpful. They said that this piece right here, AD, is congruent to that piece. So what that can tell me is if these little pieces are congruent, then these little pieces here have to be congruent. So that means CD here is congruent to DE. Let me do that. And we already said that these two pieces were congruent. So then the other thing is, if you look in the middle there, I have a set of vertical angles. So I have a pair of vertical angles. I know this got really messy. You might have to draw more than one time, so don't give up on these. So I have a side, an angle, and a side. Side, angle, side is good. So these two triangles right here are congruent. CDA, there's one with CDA on it, and GDE. And the D's go together, and A goes with G, so we are all set. Your answer is B.